do to keep them engaged while the clinic is shut down and they can't see patients. They still had classes, so we could still teach them classes.
Yeah.
And that's what we transitioned to them.
So when you did do that transition to that emergency remote teaching, where do you feel like faculty, students, and even administrators struggled the most with that?
Well, on our end, on the admin end of things, I mean, it was just implementing and learning what the software was. Like, what is Zoom? How does Zoom interface with Populi, which is our learning management system? So it was like, that was the immediate challenge was, what are we going to do? What is it? How do we implement it? How do these things interface with each other? How do we as administrators create systems for licensed users? As a small institution, we only have so many licensed users lines on Zoom, and so we would have to rotate those people around depending on who was teaching. So we had to create systems for that. We had to figure out how to problem shoot tech issues for instructors and students as well, and us. So all that was like the biggest first challenge. And then similar to that, several of our faculty just are not tech savvy, and they did not want to teach through Zoom. They were not going to teach through Zoom. And we don't have like a regular faculty. So we have independent contractors who come and teach during the intensives. So we have more instructors than we need anyway. So in one sense, that was okay, although it cut down on the pool of instructors who could teach for us online. And that created a challenge for me personally, because I ended up teaching more than I would normally have done. And one teacher who was a great online teacher, they were willing to do it with a technical assistant. So someone had to be there. So that presented a challenge as an institution. We had to pay two people to teach one course, somebody to run the tech side of things for that instructor. And so that was a big challenge. I think for most instructors and students alike, I think just being in Zoom fatigue was the biggest challenge, really. I think our students and instructors overall were really good and understanding of being on line, and that this was what was happening. And so they were very engaged and very supportive of it all. The evaluations and assessments that we got, they, while they were like, yeah, I would rather be in person, but we understand and we're really appreciative of what's happening online. But still, it was exhausting because students were home with their kids who were on Zoom in school. And then you, of course, would meet your family and friends on Zoom after an 8-hour day of being on Zoom or teaching on Zoom. It was a big challenge. So I think that fatigue, especially when there were technical issues like not enough bandwidth or a power outage, whether it was the instructor and then the meeting would cancel and close down, or individual students, would pop in and out because of tech issues. So we adopted a policy that was like, when these things happen, we're all just going to take it as a sign from the universe to take a breath, get a drink, stretch, come back in a few minutes and see if we can't get it all started again. And it didn't happen that often, but it happened often enough that it was a thing. And so that strategy really helped diffuse that exhaustion. And we also realized we had to add an extra break in a 4-hour segment. So instead of 2 breaks, we had to have 3 breaks. And so that was great because that helped keep people focused and engaged, and they got to get up and get away from the old laptop. But that meant for instructors, they had to be able to condense their material into a shorter amount of time. So there was a bit of a challenge there. But I think those were really the biggest challenges that we faced.
Because you were doing synchronized or synchronous.
It was synchronous
So
teaching. Yeah.
So, I mean, the students and it was an active learning at the same time. And so to sit there from 9 to 6, in some cases, it's exhausting.
Yeah. I mean, that's what